Back between 1906 and 1908, during the golden age of American railroads, when steam ruled the rails and the mountains echoed with the sound of iron wheels, the mighty Clinchfield 311 was born. Built as a powerful two-wheel consolidation locomotive, it was designed to conquer the steep and winding tracks of the Appalachian region. Early one morning, Clinchfield 311 began its day. It moved forward and backward along the yard, carefully collecting its coal cars. With a loud hiss of steam, it started its journey, chuffing steadily as white steam puffed into the cool mountain air. It passed a quiet station, its wheels clanking rhythmically on the rails. Smoke drifted from its stack as it rumbled beneath a bridge. then through thick forests of towering trees. Soon, it arrived at the coal yard, slowing down as it carefully loaded coal into each car one by one.
Let's get rolling. We'll be right on time,
said the driver. With a sharp blast of the whistle, Clinchfield 311 pushed the heavy coal cars back toward the yard, chuffing with all its strength. When it arrived, it gently placed the cars into position.
Phew, what a hard day's work.
said the engine sighed. But the day wasn't over yet. Soon, it went to the station to collect passenger coaches.
Are you ready to go?
The driver asked.
Yes, I'm ready.
Clinchfield 311 replied. Pulling its coaches, it traveled along a scenic branch line, winding around mountains and passing a wide, shimmering lake surrounded by trees. The engine seemed to enjoy the peaceful journey. "Look, Mother, it's Clinchfield 311, a child shouted. "Yes, I see it," the mother replied with a smile. They waved as the locomotive blew its whistle proudly. It passed farmland, rolling hills, and miles of track before finally arriving at another station. Years went by. By 1951, steam engines were fading away. Clinchfield 311, once strong and proud, had become old and worn. A diesel shunter slowly pulled it to the scrapyard. This isn't goodbye. It's just silence. A worker stood beside the silent locomotive.
I think this is goodbye.
He said sadly, before walking away. Meanwhile, in 1926, another locomotive had been built by Baldwin, the engine known as Frisco 1513 for the St. Louis-San Francisco Railway. It carried both passengers and freight across eastern and western lines, hauling goods like tank cars, boxcars, and one caboose. In August 1949, Frisco 1513 was sent to the shed to be repainted and renumbered. It was sold to Clinchfield Railroad and given a familiar number 311. Now reborn, the locomotive received a new whistle and prepared to pull passenger trains once again. At the station, it waited as passengers boarded. And it set off traveling through countryside lines. And eventually arriving at the Clinchfield Railroad, filled with forests, ridges, yards, and towering mountains. the yard, a worker approached.
So, you must be the new engine working here.
Yes, the locomotive replied. Nearby workers whispered.
Look, it's number 311 again. 311? Didn't that number disappear before?
No one answered. Clinchfield 311 returned to work, hauling trains through the mountains, but soon strange things began to happen. Coal cars derailed. Trains nearly slipped off mountain tracks. Accidents followed one after another. One day, a derailment damaged several coal cars. Another time, the engine nearly fell off the steep mountain line. Then came worse incidents, collisions, injuries, and fear among passengers and workers. President of CSW grew frustrated.
My goodness, you've caused too many accidents.
He said angrily.
I'll send you to the scrapyard.
Once again, the locomotive was taken away. Clinchfield 311 sat silently, filled with regret, alone beside an old caboose. Then one day, footsteps approached. A manager stood in front of the engine, studying it carefully.
That's the one I'm looking for.
He said,
We're going to work on the Highland Valley Railroad.
Soon, Clinchfield 311 was repaired and repainted, given a fresh new life. Wow, I look splendid again, it said.
Come on,
The manager smiled.
let's get rolling.
All right. With a strong chuff, steam rising once more, Clinchfield 311 moved forward, back to the rails, back to purpose, heading toward a brand new journey on the Highland Valley Railroad. On October 31st, 1957, Halloween night, the wind whistled through the Highland Valley Railroad. There was an engine sitting quietly as Clinchfield 311, an old 42 mounted type engine, also known as Jessica. She was assigned to taking logging cars to Black Wolf Mountain and return afterward.
Well, old girl, it looks like we're going to take some logging cars tonight.
Just my luck. How am I supposed to take this train up the mountain?
Hey, no matter what happens, the manager won't let those fools touch you as long as me and your firemen are here.
So what time do we arrive back in Captain?
Our arrival is at 1 a.m., right on the dot.
Right, let's get rolling. As her driver opened the throttle inside the cab, Jessica slowly rolled forward and began chuffing up the mountain with her logging cars. During the run, 311 was doing very well, traveling 50 miles along the river canyon through the whistling winds. They arrived at the logging camp on Black Wolf Mountain right on time. But a few minutes later, a signal malfunction delayed 311's return journey. However, she soon started moving again. This rain is hard to see through. It's unsafe and these mountain lines are dangerous in these conditions. It's almost suicidal.
We'll be home as quick as we can after delivering this lot. But remember what I said. Stay confident. We'll make it out of here and get home safe.
As they raced along the tracks during the heavy rain, trees and rocks began falling onto the bridge ahead, causing it to collapse into the rapids below. Clinchfield 311 plunged into the river beneath the bridge. The next morning, the other engines began a search and rescue operation. Minutes turned into hours, the Miller Bridge had collapsed, and no one knew what had happened to 311 and her crew. They had vanished into thin air. Later, a strong bridge was constructed, but from that day on, the legend of 311 was born. One night, a freight train waited quietly in the yard of the Clinchfield Railroad before taking its train to the next destination. Then suddenly, unknown whistle echoed in the distance.
What was that?
It was Demon 311, appearing before its next victim, but suddenly it vanished. The diesel stood pale with shock, realizing that Clinchfield 311 had become a ghost train. At the coal yard that night, a demonic whistle and ring bell echoed once again. Demon 311 appeared. It had a glowing red headlamp and ghostly red steam pouring from its funnel. It chaffed alone in the darkness, then disappeared without a trace. On October 31st, 1960, Clinchfield 3613 diesel was working hard, delivering its train through the mountain line. As it approached the bridge, it suddenly heard a steam whistle. Then, a demonic figure with red smoke appeared right in front of it. It was the ghost of Clinchfield 311. 3613 was caught by Clinchfield 311 and both vanished without a trace, along with its crew. Later, Michael the steam engine searched for it. He arrived at the bridge on the mountain, but nothing was there except the smell of oil and smoke. Then suddenly, 311 appeared blowing its whistle. "Get out of here! Leave! Before I send you to hell!" Michael quickly rushed away from the bridge and told Louis the Norfolk and Western Railway streamline engine everything. If you ever catch a glimpse of a 482 engine with a ghostly red headlamp and red steam, thundering across the bridge, remember, she never reaches the other side.
My story has been told time and time again. A warning to everyone. Once they see me, they always remember me. I am trapped and cannot be free from my past. For 60 years have passed since my death. On Black Wolf Mountain.
No, it killed me.
I will not let you escape. Even if you are an innocent tank engine, I will finish what I started and complete my curse.
Well, hello, brother.
I'm ready. Time to finish this, little tank engine.
Thomas suddenly woke up in the shed beside Rosie. He looked around to make sure Timothy and Jessica were nowhere near him. As Clinchfield 311 shoved quietly along the peaceful Highland Valley line, she crossed the bridge and finally made it safely. Her curse was broken. The next morning, Clinchfield 311 crossed the bridge once more to visit her brother on the St. Louis-San Francisco Railway. She arrived beside her brother, Frisco 1522, Frank, and her sister, Frisco 1523, Isabeau. They began celebrating their reuniite along with her companions, Mountain Express number 7, Daniel the locomotive, and Bernie the Santa Fe diesel. It was a joyful moment. At last, after 60 long years, her curse was finally over. The end.